Oi, you filthy gits. Welcome back. Sorry the campaign has been so long between episodes. Life was just busy. I had a lot of stuff going on at work. This particular campaign is extremely fun to play, and I like it, so don't think for a minute that it's because I don't want to do it. I mean, his Immensity's great gut is a very satisfying campaign here. But no, things were just very busy. This particular series takes the longest to record out of anything I make because I have to record it all here in real time. And then I have to go record the battles, and then I have to splice it all up, edit it, and it also takes the longest to upload. And right now, my ISP, Cox Communications, has been even worse than ever. On a good day, I get a third of what I pay for. I thought I had settled this out a couple of times with them, but apparently it's still a thing. So yeah, it takes me hours to upload one of these videos, and that clogs up my ability to upload anything else. So what I'm going to try and do is just start up, capturing stuff like this, and if I have to, I'll just have to leave it uploading all night or something in order to get it done. But it's pretty frustrating because it stopped me from being able to stream and a bunch of other things. Hopefully it'll get sorted, but I'm not counting on it. We're just going to have to make do. Anyway, we are back. People have been asking for some things, and I had one person ask, you haven't picked mine, so do you not read the comments? I do read the comments. I don't get to use every suggestion people make. There's too many. And unfortunately, I can't put them all into play. I do try and put as many as I can into play. And that same comment asked whether or not I take the suggestions from Discord or from the YouTube chat. All the suggestions that I've used here come from the YouTube chat. This is not something that we've set up to discuss over on the Discord. But if you do want to join it, be happy to have you over there. It's a great Discord. In any case, as you all may remember, we's building up crappiest Despider Gits army, and it's 3 turns from being complete. I did go ahead and name our Black Orc Big Boss Arded Face Basha at the request of one of our comments. I did make a new character, and this is based off of 2 comments. So I recruited a Goblin Big Boss to interact with the Hag Merchant and to also just be used on the map for slowing other armies down and probably future use in an army. And we've named him Gaspacho Stabby Salter. He's the cousin of Patchy the Salty Stabba. Okay? You guys got it? So yeah, that was 2 comments. We rolled into one. One person wanted me to name Karak Norn the Stunty Museum. We had already named it Karak Krumped. So I don't want to rename it at this point, but if we take another dwarf settlement, so like for instance, Fester Spike or whatever, which was probably a dwarf settlement, now the Empire's taken over, please remind me, and we'll try and name it the Stunty Museum, and I'll try and get that one out there for you. Someone else mentioned that we want to rename, people were thinking of names for Altdorf. You should go ahead and continue to think of names for Altdorf. And we need to name Snorko here. I made that other new character, but we'll need Snorko needs a name. So those are the few things I could use your help with. Obviously, any new settlements we take, I'll need your help naming those. And then Snorko needs a name right now. I did pick up a unit name, too. We had the Stunty Puntas for one of our trolls, so definitely wanted to bring that one in. Now, as far as suggestions, people are saying that I should probably move west. We do have to pacify Bretonia. Things are going to get really scrappy here, which is good, right? We're playing a greenskin campaign. We enjoy a good scrapping. It was mentioned in the comments that we need to go west to take Avres eventually. That's absolutely correct. We're not going to forget that goal. In order to do so, we need a staging area here. But if we attack the filthy peasants, they're going to be defended by their other allies and the Reichland. So we need to have enough armies to hold all this back, which means we could potentially get invaded all over the place, which is why I've put settlements together here and tried to get them fortified. So we'll see. I do need a 3rd army as soon as we probably get crappiest Spider Gits army together. And then what we'll have to do is try and wage war successfully on 2 fronts all at once. Looks like Castle Carcassonne got wrecked here recently. That's good. I don't know who wrecked it, but well done. Probably the Skaven. I bet they're building out because I see what appears to be missing settlements. So speaking of, maybe we should, at least for the time being, be more friendly with these rat things. Of course, we'll eventually betray them, as the rat things deserve. But for now, they could be helpful in helping us get rid of the Humies and not being crushed by the Order Tide. So I think we'll enter into a defensive alliance with them if they'll have it.
Yes.
And this will allow us to have more targets working against the Order Tide. So if there's other greenskin factions, we really need them to help us out, but I don't have eyes on the other greenskin factions. We may need to send an agent that way to see if any of them survived the Order Tide thus far. Anyway, that's where we're at. Let's finish Crapius' army. We're doing some raiding up here at Montfort, and the other comment that I'm going to take into account here is that someone wanted us to do the cooking challenge again, so we can unlock the 4th ingredient and have up to 4 ingredients. And I agree that's what we should do because it's going to give us the most benefit. Someone else mentioned a name that they weren't sure was good for a unit, but it was Humburger Helper for making the Humies into Hamburger Helper. I appreciate this, and I believe that Grom and his Great Gut also appreciate it. It is a good name. I don't know, maybe we should name a settlement Humburger Helper. Like one of these up here, Helmgart, Humburger Helper. I mean, it would work out, I think. So eventually we can use that, I think. Anyway, thanks for everybody else who's suggesting names. Someone also mentioned we had a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth that was named Kevin. That we should name a rogue idol Kevin.
Who should we tap?
I suppose we could. We got one coming here. All right, let's get through a turn-in.
Whatever you was offering, Grom could always just seize it.
Looks like Sartosa wants military access. I don't really know that they need military access. Counteroffer that. I think we should just go ahead and have a military alliance in order to try and protect each other. Again, I don't like these filthy vampires, and I don't need this salty salt spite, but we have to have something to work against the Order Tide. So Grom, in his immense knowledge, is going to accept this for the time being so that we can work together against the Order Tide. Alright, Crapius is just waiting on his rogue idol. We'll probably have enough teeth left over for to at least get a 3rd army started, which I think that we'll have pretty serious need of in order to defend against all fronts for this. We should also look at these vampires here, led by Kimmler. They're at war with a couple of Bretonnian factions, and we should probably get a non-aggression pact with them again. We're going to try and gather some forces together. Eventually the WAAAGH will rule all, but for the time being, the more we can put against the Humies, the better, and also against the Pointy Ears. So this is going to be Grom's necessary alliance, and then eventually they all just go into the pot, and we cook everybody equally into some delicious food art. Now, we mentioned food art on the last episode, at least I did, and someone mentioned that this is a Grom campaign, and food art should just be known simply as fart. A good point. A good point. So food art in Grom's campaign, like this Grom Surf and Turf, is now just known as fart. Okay? There we go. So just make sure you all are aware. And looks like the time for the WAAAGH is here. Some part of me would like to spend this WAAAGH on Altdorf. But then some part of me wants to spend a WAAAGH on the peasants. I honestly think it would be easier possibly to hold back the peasants, to kind of hold them back. Then again, they could try and get into the forest, but if Crapius is used to hold back the peasants, and Grom is used to assault the Humies, we could probably pull off this WAAAGH. Let's see who all their allies are and see what we'd be up against. They're strength rank 4. They're allied with Kara-Zakarak, which they hate us anyway at this point. I'm surprised we're not at war with them to begin with. They have a defensive alliance with Carcassonne. They're likely to pull Bretonnia into the war against us. But they are at war with Middenland, which could work to our favor. Marienburg, Middenland, and the Sylvania. They're also at war with Clan Scryer. So I think that a WAAAGH against the Humies will be appropriate. Let's get Crapius's rogue idol done. He needs to have Kevin in his army, apparently. And I'm going to use the Teef to build up the Stunty food bank to a fortress. Looks like Grom de Ponch has a skill point, though, before we end the turn. I'm trying to remember what I was working on with him. We're only at skill point 35, so we can add quite a bit more. Lightning Strike. This mob boss would be pretty helpful in getting us towards another army. And Grom is looking pretty indomitable in melee. Raider, looter, ravaging from sacking. Let's build up a Raider. Could be a useful one for grabbing quick income, and then we may do some of the others over time as well.
Spit it out, meatbag. What you thinking?
What you thinking? I love it. Alright, yes, we will do this. Grom's Alliance. Alright, we've finished this turn in.
I'm special.
Kevin is one turn away from joining us. I think we've got pretty good defense. It's probably time to declare a WAAAGH against the Humies. We won't get an immediate war from Coron, though it may follow quickly. It may follow quickly. Now this time, I'm going to select the WAAAGH target properly. And we're going to dedicate this WAAAGH to Gork. Gork is the best. Faction straw, yeah, this is going to be a big fight. So we've declared WAAAGH on the Humies, and Helmgart will be the first to be attacked. And we're going to hit hard and move on through. They've got a fairly significant defense, but since when have we ever been scared of the Humies? Speaking of, we need some food. The boys need some food for the WAAAGH here. Let's go in and cook them up something nice. That surf and turf we had was actually pretty good. What all did we put in that? Well, obviously we had the goldfish if we're going to make it surf and turf. And then I believe we had this anti-large, anti-infantry, the extra projectiles. And then we had the troll meat for the regenerating. Oh no, this is our Misty Mountain broth. So this will give sundering attacks to Grom, huge weapon damage increase, less time for global recruitment, enable sundering attacks. Yeah, and it gives regeneration for night gobos. What's the fungus do? Earns 5 reputation. Enemy siege holdout time. -5. Ooh. That could actually be really good. Potentially for the WAAAGH here. Berserk for all orc infantry units. Yikes. That could be good too. Recruitment cost. Ghostly protection for rogue idols. I wonder if you can have 2 different types of ammunition. It's not something I've checked into. Huh. I think we're okay. I think that this Misty Mountain broth should be pretty good. It gives us extra obedience in provinces we're conquering. Global recruitment time drops in case we need to re-recruit. Yeah, this will be good. This will be a good dish to help us fight this WAAAGH. So the boys have got some good grub.
Hack 'em to pieces.
And we're just going to cut through Helmgart immediately. We're not going to give them time to bring in reinforcements.
Grom always wins. Remember it.
Oh, it looks so good. The WAAAGH is back. And soon Helmgart will become Humberger Helper. And the boys will be taking over management. Gravy, this game's beautiful. I cannot wait for Warhammer 3. Cannot wait. Let's take a look at the Humie defenses. Led by Conroy. Old Conroy. There's plenty of handgunners, which I suppose that our own Warner 95 would heavily approve of. But this campaign is all about Grom de Punch. Not about these Humie gits. The Humies have halberds and greatswords defending the walls where their guns are placed. And the boys is ready to go meet them in battle. Comes to Gobos, the Night Gobos. Heading up the ladders. Man, they're little. They come in about half height, but full power. Look at the Humies run. A few Gobos show up, and they've already had enough. Stab them, boys. Start saying, we's gonna get you. So the Gobos is coming over the walls, and you can see that Grom and Demolcha are busy asking the humans kindly to open the gates. The Humies do have, and these forts are pretty cool design by CA, I must admit. The Humies have a really good artillery position up here. They're going to be firing away with some impunity for at least a while. Now my Gobos Archers is backfiring their special ammo and doing quite a bit of damage along the way where my Gobos aren't able to fight. And some of the Gobos are definitely going to take a bit of a beating in this fight. They got shot in the face on the way up, and they've got to fight infantry that has better stats than they do. Now, no doubt Conroy is giving his men the speech, similar to Lord of the Rings, telling them that no matter what comes through that gate, they have to stand their ground and fight. We'll see whether or not they live up to that. In fact, Conroy already has a very little help in standing against whatever comes through those gates. The Humies have continued their presence on the walls, which my archers are making them pay for, and their own rocket barrages having some effect on my troops, but also a bit of friendly fire. You can see that Grom has come through the gate, and Conroy is very quickly going to get cut to size. There's a few regrouping troops around him, and I believe that there's some Reichsguard on hand. They're going to come help defend Conroy. All the big boys is here. The Humies was having enough trouble with the goblins on the walls, and now they gotta fight the big boys in Grom's armies. And honestly, even the little boys in Grom's army is pretty tough. You can see that the Great Gust will be feasting on Humberger Helper for weeks to come as this battle unfolds. My Gobos is coming off the walls. You can see that the mighty Reichsguard gets quickly cut down to size, and here comes Blacktooth's revenge for a little double rogue idol action between him and Mulcha. Both of them are going to have a field day, going full Macho Man Randy Savage on these Humies, and Grom is going to try and cut through and get to the artillery. You can see Patchy DeStabba assisting him in the stabbing of all humans. That's what Patchy lives for. It's a good old stabbing. Oh man, I love these theme campaigns. It's so fun to get into the character. Hopefully y'all are enjoying it too. So yeah, you can see the Gobos here. Actually, they're kind of losing this fight. These Gobos are not in good shape. They've taken a bit of a savaging. Their replenishment is really the only thing keeping them in the fight against these great swords. And they're going to hold on. They may not make it through this fight. We'll see. But the Gobos is brave, and they'll fight for as long as Grom asks them to. Even to the death. Gobos stand tall when Grom's around. The gut inspires them. He's going to be bringing in some infantry reinforcements to help finish the walls. And then Grom has made his way up into the fortress. It's appropriate that all these graves are here. Make it easier to clean things up. Of course, the boys could just use the graves as a outhouse. Whatever works first. See, Grom's gonna put an end to all this artillery madness. Get him, Grom. Get him. Eat a turkey leg or something. Show him who's boss. Actually, he's just gonna sit there and stop attacking altogether. CA, please. I gave this man an attack order. Woo! Demolcha's not having it. Just threw a big rock up here, and we got our trolls up. So they'll be attacking the next one soon. You can kind of see what's going on the walls down here. The Humi leadership is barely hanging on. They're actually better off having kept all their units up on the walls, because then they don't have to face all the trolls and the Mulcha. Blacktooth's revenge. It's actually very fortunate for them to be in that situation. You see the artillery actually firing. Grom is waiting on an order from Air. His great gut, no doubt, growing very impatient that Air was busy elsewhere. He's probably busy helping on the walls, if I remember right, because there was a bunch of Humies up here. But yeah, Conroy's forces are well and truly in some big doo-doo. They are not going to survive for much longer. See, they have a few handguns that regroup down here. I'm going to send some trolls their way, pay them some attention, and we've been sending in some Gabo reinforcements. And I've even got the Mulcha throwing rocks up at the walls now. And Grom and his gang now going to lay waste to the artillery pieces. And Hume's defense is broken. Or Conroy Beckberg. We did lose a Gabo unit. It wasn't one of our named units, fortunately, but we got to get a Gabo unit back in. So we'll have to take care of that. Stinks, because it did have gold chevrons, but I mean, that's definitely a risk in a fight like this. We're going up against a lot of top-tier infantry that's happy up in a garrison. I didn't use the reinforcements, obviously, so that they didn't get damaged, and we can continue to recruit a fresh WAAAGH. We's gonna loot and occupy. Well, should we loot and occupy? I think we're just gonna occupy so I can take it over at its higher level. Yeah, we take it over at a higher level, should be able to defend. Oh yeah, look at this defense. It's looking real good. Yeah, so I want to take it over at this higher level. It'll be very difficult for the Humes to take it back, and it'll help block this pass in our favor rather than working into Hume's favor, which we don't do things into Hume's favor, do we? No, we don't. No, we don't. Let's get our Gabo back. May just be a Gabo, but Grom loves the Gabos. He lifts them up. He makes them big and makes them do great things. Let's see here. We got some good scrap out of that fight, too, because we just had to spend some. And Crappiest, despite it, is getting some nice WAAAGH troops in as well. As we get these WAAAGH troops, if the Bretonnians are foolish enough to join this WAAAGH against us, then we will get them. And if they don't, we may just move Crappiest over, take Fester Spike, Fort Sol, and come over here. But obviously we're going to have to worry about the Stunties pushing back. So we'll keep an eye on them. We'll keep an eye on them. The Stunty takeout needs some defenses. It looks like we've just about built them here, the Orc Guardhouse. So we're getting closer to having all the things we need. Massive Gut. We're almost finished with our recruiting, which means that there'll be plenty of teeth to go around for all. Speaking of teeth, I guess we can invest in a couple of these hordes and increase the number of teeth that Grom be taken in. I mean, you can't ever have enough teeth, can you? I mean, that's... Here we go. Go ahead and invest in a couple of these. I think that's probably most all we need to do for this turn. I'm going to go ahead and keep damaging the walls at Altdorf. That way when we get there, Grom can just waltz in with all of his trolls. We can issue a commandment here, which Camp Ruckus seems pretty appropriate. We're going to go with this get out of here, get some extra obedience as we're taking over these new territories, plus what we got in our cooking, which should make it very easy for us to pacify the Hume settlements that are getting improved. The boss has given them a great improvement. Some more hit points for the troll hag. Let's see what kind of WAAAGH troops. Not picking up great WAAAGH troops, honestly, yet. But it's also probably because we have somewhat crappy units in our army. We'll see if the same holds out. I mean, look at that. We got some river trolls for Crappiest. And it looks like the vampires are attacking Montfort, so we might be able to use that distraction to our advantage. And go ahead and move Crappiest back towards the border with the Humes and the Stunties, because they'll probably be putting themselves together in that vicinity. So we'll just start coming underground, get back over here to make sure we can head off to Stunties and to Humes, and take some more property off their hands. Our new Gabos here, we need to give them the scrap armor here, so they can fit in proper. They're going to have to earn some chevrons back, though. Their Gabo brothers is way ahead of them. Way ahead of them, indeed. But Grom is ready to move on, and we are not going to give any quarter to the Humes. The fight will continue. The fight will continue. This isn't really worth our effort, though. If I fight it manually, I am going to fight it manually. I'm not going to show it to you all because I don't want to auto-resolve and have it start getting rid of my my WAAAGH forces. I may need them for a larger fight soon. Well, I had said I wasn't going to show this, but that was before I decided that Grom and Mulcha were just going to take care of things on their own here. In fact, let's see what Grom's capable of. Charging headlong into the Humies, giving them their best possible chance. How will they fare? Not well. Their leader was immediately catapulted from the fight because of the immensity of Grom. And speaking of immensity, those are some axe blows there. Check this out. Look how quick the kills are climbing. 46 kills and climbing quick. Look at the damage on him. It's absolutely redonkulous. He's also sundering the armor of everything he attacks. So you can see that almost nothing around him has any armor to stand with. Anything he lands a hit on will have its armor sundered. So Grom, the boss, is going to be cutting his way through this. Now, in the background, you'll see that Mulcha has pulled up in position, and I'm going to have him lob a couple of rocks in here. Just, you know, get a little target practice, get honed in. Make sure he's ready to help finish the WAAAGH against the Humies. Give you all a little visual splendor here. And when Mulcha started throwing rocks, the Humie general decides that he's going to go take him on. He's going to be that brave. I'll let you all see how that ends. So you can see between Mulcha and Grom that Mulcha is living up to his name, and Grom is right there along with him. It's just been an absolute slaughter thus far. Grom's already got 150 kills against the humans and taken very little damage in return. You see Mulcha's cutting a few throws in, already killed 54 Humies as well. At least the humans will be very tenderized whenever Mulcha lands his hit. Be nice and soft for kind of like a Humie fried steak. Or schnitzel, I guess, if you're feeling more Bavarian. Anyway, here we go. Let's watch Mulcha's showdown. I'm sure this will last a long time. That's pretty much the end of that. Can't imagine why he's fleeing. Well, he was brave right up until the point he got absolutely flattened. Then he was less brave. Grom's finished things down here, so good fun. Alright, Grom couldn't help himself. He wanted you to just see how massive his gut was in battle, and so he showed you a few glimpses of what happened to these filthy Humies. So there we go, and none of our WAAAGH troops took any damage as a result, and we've entered Reichland. Wonder whether we should keep some recruiting here. Don't think we need to. Especially not in this province. It's not right for that building. Or sorry, and that settlement wouldn't be right for that building. Speaking of, we need to rename a few things. This is going to be a Humburger Helper. And then I'll need you all to give me names for the other settlements we take here. But that was one that was already suggested. If I take another dwarf settlement here, it'll be the Stunty Museum. So I'll keep that in mind for the person who is requesting that. And like I said, please continue to give your suggestions, and I will do my best to work them in. The walls of Altdorf is going to stay damaged. Very damaged. And when we get there, Grom is going to be waltzing right in. Let's just start leveling up this agent here. Honestly, we should bring this agent over here because it might be handy for blocking moves. If the Bretonnians move against us, then we'll just have to deal with that when the time comes. But as for now, I think we're okay. Let's take a look at where all we can build. We've got a decent bit of teeth on hand. I'm mostly looking for things that are going to boost the economy. This gives us some untainted, which is going to be pretty necessary, having some rats near us. So I may actually go with that for the time being. And of course, Grom has leveled up. We'll give him Raider so he can raid up some more income as needed. The hag merchant's been spotted. I'll go ahead and have Grom move there, even though I think we can use other characters. We need to do the cooking challenge. So I can get another slot opened up. I really like the meal we have there, but all I think we have to do is just cook something. Cook for the hag. There's not a turn limit on this, is there? Cauldron of Kings. I don't see a turn limit. Let's see what happens. I'm curious now, because I don't necessarily want to get rid of this dish right at the moment. I'm going to see what happens. Does this go away? I don't see a turn limit. Normally when there's a turn limit, it states it. Let's see what happens. Speaking of raiding up some income, let's do. Gonna pick up some massive teeth off these humies. Plenty of teeth to go around for all. Actually, let's not build that. Let's build the one that gives us growth here and replenishment. The faster we can get this built up, the better. What's old Beaky doing walking through our lands? I don't remember giving permission for that. I'm tempted to kill him, but don't exactly want another war on my hands at the moment. I can see the humies amassing at Fester Spike, so he's gonna head that way. How come I can't move underground here? There we go. Yeah, he's gonna move underground to Fester Spike and get up in this region because I think the humies is mobilizing against me in the mountains, and we're not gonna allow them to get any freebies on us. Failed to damage the walls, but they are still damaged. The wall strength's only at 3%. So yeah, the walls of the humies is pretty damaged. Pretty damaged at this point. I feel pretty good. Ardad Face Basha is going to level up. Let's take a look at his tree for a minute. Get back on your feet. Extra replenishment for orcs. Vigor loss reduction for orcs. Oh, there's lots of good stuff in here. Lots of good stuff in here. Armed to the teeth. Training would be good for Crapius's army. I mean, this guy's already pretty tank. So let's focus. I know training won't be big, but let's focus on it. I mean, it won't be the end all, but it's going to be pretty good. Let's hold on and build up some scrap for these black orcs, and I'll give it to them as soon as I feel like we've built up enough. Because see, we need some here. We're almost done with our scrap compactor. Super excited. It's going to start giving us 10 scrap per turn. That's huge. And we're going to have to spend 50 scrap here on the Stronga Howdas. And that unlocks scrap for Arachnarok spiders as well. Wonder who's raiding in the Reichland. There must be an army just out of sight right over here. I don't know how they can actually do so. Well, whatever. They're going to waste their time raiding. Let's see what the wall strength is at Altdorf. It's up to 13%. Yeah, let's give it one last. So Tylea got destroyed. Technology researched. Alright. The walls is even more damaged. So Altdorf will have pretty much no walls. We're going to be just kind of waltzing straight in. Cleanse Corruption could be handy as we get more Skaven Corruption. We have to park these guys to help cleanse it. Altdorf is ready for the taking. I mean, we get good loot off of it. Oh, we can't reach it. What a ripoff. Anyway, we'll go into a raiding camp and get some more teeth off these humies as we wait. I'm going to move as close as I can to their mountain homes. I want to get up here and challenge these humies before they can finish training up their armies in their entirety. I know we have some buildings that we might need, but I'm going to save some teeth here just in case we have to stand up an army in a hurry. And it's probably risky for me to spend any money here knowing that there's an army raiding in this very small territory. They very well may just come through and hit us there. Now we can get the Scrap Compacta and the biggest WAAAGH. So the Scrap Compacta is going to be huge. Absolutely amazing. Nibwit's failed WAAAGH. Ah, we'll wait. We'll wait. Same thing here at Grom's Anvil. He's going to safeguard against chaos. The extra Untainted is actually going to be pretty helpful. I don't know why we can't move up into their mountains from here. I guess we must be just out of range from being able to pull it off. That's as far as we can move. And on the next turn, we should be able to jump up here. The humies can't go underground. And despite them having two armies and some garrison there, I feel like we'll be able to take them. We should build up the defenses into big walls at Destunti Food Bank, because we could be fighting back Destuntis. Oh, look here.
Rewrite reality.
Another bunch of pointy ears thinks they can come back in our territory. They must have been... Were they the ones doing the raiding? No, because we haven't spotted them yet. They have the Sword of Kane, though.
An archmage.
An archmage with the Sword of Kane. That's actually our opportunity to go get the Sword of Kane, is it not? If we defeat this character, we get the Sword of Kane. I mean, the Axe of Grom is pretty cool, but pretty sure the Sword of Kane would be pretty fun here.
The Goblin King!
I don't think they can get past Helmguard. No, it's gonna block their movement. Let's see what the pointy ear does. For now, we're gonna attack Altdorf and its defenses. They got a Stank, Demigryph Knights, Reichsguard, Gunners, Great Swords. The Empire's best. Yeah, I mean, I know. That's kind of a funny statement on its face, but the Empire's best here. Here inside the broken walls of Altdorf, Gustav Helborg could only ask himself 2 questions. One, where is the Emperor? He always says, bring me to my men, but he's not here with his men. And also, how could one goblin cause so much damage to the walls? Who allowed that? The gate's broken, there's gaping holes in the walls, and the Gobbo archers are now firing through it. And a hole big enough that even his immensity can easily fit through it, which is saying something. And speaking of his immensity, Helborg's now in trouble because he's here. And Grom once again wants to show off his fighting prowess amongst the humans. He rather enjoys destroying them. Feels like it's good practice for destroying pointy ears, though the humans can't conjure up quite as much magic or pointy arrows. Grom's gonna get a little help from his sack-battering friend. See here, the purple sun of Zerus being unleashed on the defenders of Altdorf, causing some damage, not as gruesome as it could have been. The gods didn't send it exactly where we needed it, but good nonetheless. And Grom is holding out just fine on his own, though Demolcha is going to come up and help get involved in some more combat too. And honestly, most of the boys is just sitting back, watching their immense boss prove once again why they follow him. But old Blacktooth's revenge wanted to get involved. And since these humies were kind enough to blob themselves up, he decided to join Grom for a good old scrapping. All that the humies have can't hold back 2 units from Grom's WAAAGH. 2 units from Grom's WAAAGH. One of them's not even a unit, it's just a summon. I mean, if we're gonna be fair about it. Oh, speaking of, Defishy Tittlemuncha needed to vomit, so she decided to come on in and vomit, help out a little. See the nice pile there that's... These humies definitely enjoyed going that way. Nothing like some burning troll hag vomit to wake you up in the morning. You'll get an idea of just what kind of beatdown is taking place here. The Rogue Idol's already got 66 kills, Grom has 150, and here comes Demolcha to join up. And the Fishy Tittlemuncha's got one more purple surprise for the humies inside. For those looking for some good cinematic action, you've come to the right place. So the humies was cleared out, and the next wave of the attack will begin as the trolls make their way in, and Grom is going to push his way back towards the steam tank, which is waiting in the alleyway here for its opportunity to fight. I guess it didn't want to reinforce the troops that were dying so ignominiously. Just let them do so. Grom is not scared of a steam tank. See Patchy to Salty Stabba wants to get a good stabbing in. Not scared of any tanks. A bag battering. All the things that's needed for a good old proper scrap. And speaking of proper scrap, see the river trolls here coming in to fight the Demigryph Knights of Altdorf. the swamp things. They'll need a little help from their troll brothers and sisters, who will be here soon. You can see the Bright Wizard, having seen Hellborg be defeated, now attempting himself to stand. And, you know, the flaming damage, probably not a bad thing, but he is up against a lot of trolls who are all headed his way. And you can see that the steam tank is being summarily destroyed by Grom, Patchy, and a Fishy. It won't be here long. Good bag batter and finishes it. And Grom's free to proceed to the main plaza of Altdorf as the trolls arrive in force and the Demigryph Knights are knocked off of their illustrious mounts. The Bright Wizard desperately attempting to stop the troll tide. More Demigryph Knights reinforcing. You see the exploding shrooms. And a clubbing begins. The Reichsguard looking to stop it, but Grom has arrived in Altdorf. There can be no doubt who the new owner is. His dominant performance, not even using his WAAAGH troops, or even his mainline infantry, just himself and a couple of his finest, cutting their way through the capital city of the humans. Another good vomit from the Fishy Tittlemuncha to finish things off, and Altdorf is Grom's. So the great Grom and his delicious food art, known as Fart, has now taken over the Reich land. Fart will no doubt split. Oh, my loot.
Drown it in green, boys.
Oh, my loot.
Smash it up, boys. Don't want to see nothing left. And that's the end of them.
Oh, boy.
Wants it broken.
Oh. Oh, that's so much teeth.
Snatch up the best.
Oh. Oh, the immense gut.
Loot. Grab the pole.
Oh, that loot.
Grab the pole.
Now, we'll probably have to spend most of it rebuilding this sack, but oh, that loot. That loot be so good. I'm actually going to demolish this. I don't know what all we want here. We're going to need to build some defenses. I don't need that at the moment. Oh, my goodness. The sweet teeth. Oh, boy, that's a pile. What's the most loot you all have ever gotten from one go in a campaign like that? I'm curious now. What's the most loot you all have picked up off something like that? We're gonna need plenty of this here to keep the Untainted in check. I'll spend a little bit of my loot on that. Honestly, these places, I don't know if they're the ones to spend the most of this investment on. Let's see, Untainted. Let's get a treasure hoard going here. Untainted. Finish the growth. What else would be very helpful here? This Shaman's Hut would be good in a lot of these places as well because of the Untainted that it adds. I am going to go ahead and throw a bit of this in throughout here. The Golden Showerhead could use a Shaman's Hut. Yeah, the Untainted will be good. It'll keep the Vampiric and other corruption at bay. I want that sword. I want that sword a lot. I'm going to go block the movement of this army and see if we can pin them down and take that sword. When someone is so kind as to bring some loot all the way across the world to me, I think I'm going to take them up on that offer. Going to take them up on it for sure. Block army. Block army is very, very useful, especially in potentially challenging situations where you got a lot of enemies all over you. I'm going to go ahead and just spin the cash. This is a lot of teeth, but we'll use the Empire's teeth to build up what we have in Grom's name. It'd be very expensive, but might as well use the teeth for something. Something useful. Well, actually, I don't know if it is that useful. I'm going to ignore that one. 10,000. It's pretty high price for these settlements that aren't honestly very worthwhile. Save some. It says they're gonna win. I mean, don't get me wrong, they got decent troops, and they've got the Lord with the Sword of Kane. But let's put up a fight, shall we? We'll see whether the Humeburger Helper loses. If they win, it's probably good. That means they'll be there when Grom comes to claim the sword. Humeburger Helper is already having to defend itself. And not only that, the Sword of Kane has wielded its ugly head in the hands of this high archmage and her forces, which have considerable experience and will be tough fighters. And they're not up against Grom's best, though, so we'll see if the High Elves and some of their most experienced, along with the sword of their precious Kane, can help them cut their way through even some of the weaker troops that Grom fields. See the Doom Divers raining upon them, and some Orc Arab boys placed on the walls in order to let the towers that the Humies left us do a little bit of work before they fall back to a more defensive position. At the same time, hopefully drawing in magic and the Sword of Kane Vortex off of their leader, hopefully getting the AI to waste precious resources. Speaking of resource waste, here comes the Great Eagle to attack the Orc Arab boys. This has been anticipated, and we do have some Boar boys holding back, ready to take on the Great Eagle as it can be lured down to the ground by the fleeing archers, and you'll see that that's going to be the case here. My troops now abandoning the walls for the most part. One more legion of Orc Arab boys that needs to retreat, and as we retreat, the Doom Divers will be able to do their work. Here comes the Boar boys, looking to cash in on an opportunity to kill this eagle. See if the eagle likes picking on something its own size. Yeah, the Boar boys are going to make fairly short work of it. You see the enemy archmage made her way down the walls and is now inside the settlement. And you can see the organized retreat of the boys back to their defensive position that the Humies were so kind to build for us. The eagle was defeated and sent packing, at least momentarily. It'll come back for another run shortly. Somewhat suicidal in its attempts to take down the Boar boys. Either that or the eagle just really likes the taste of pork. It's yet to be determined. But looks like meat is going to be back on the menu. Can we get some eagle wings for the cauldron, some beak, some feet? Whatever it is that adds some flavor into Grom's next cooking pot. Yeah, you can see the Great Eagle's taking some damage. Unfortunately for the boys, though, they are going to be the target of multiple archer units for the High Elves, which will shoot anything that gets into range quickly. You can see the retreat has been made, and let's go see what's waiting on the High Elves. You can see that we have the biggest into artist here. Orc Biggins. Well, I say the biggest, they're the biggest, but the hardest has been saved in reserve. We've got some trolls here. The Doom Divers have a nice firing position. And then we have the Black Orcs looking particularly awesome, ready to defend their Humeburger Helper. You can see all the graves of the Humies now occupied. I'm going to put a quick charge on the High Mage just to busy her for a moment. And after having driven the Eagle out, our Boar boys are going to flee back to the safety of their fortress position, while the Doom Divers are going to start raining doom all over the incoming elf infantry and archers. The Eagle, of course, isn't going to like this, and will make an attempt on the Doom Divers here shortly. But for the time being, they're causing some pretty tremendous damage. You can see the Swordmasters of Hoeth and Silverengard taking a pretty savage beating at the hands of the Doom Divers, who have already racked up considerable kills. Very considerable kills, especially considering the cost and chevrons on these Elvish troops. The Eagle lands, and no, we're not talking about the moon landing in this case. The artillery will have to move back as the Elven archers are beginning to be in range. It'll fire for just a moment longer and then be retreated, and the Orc Arab boys are slowly making their way into position to be able to use that as a firing position. So you can see that the defense has been readied, and now the boys just have to hold out in their fortress. The bird gets battered and killed. It'll be all kinds of tasty when it gets breaded and fried. I heard that human bones, when bashed apart, will make a rather nice, crunchy batter. They can mix it with the blood and stuff like that, get a nice orc fried eagle there. So you can see that the archers have driven back the artillery, and now my own archers will have to return fire on the elven range units, and our arrow boys are going to sacrifice themselves to absorb the arrows and fire back and save the rest of our troops. You can see the artillery now moving back to a safe distance, and the archmage realizing that she's going to be up against some pretty stiff resistance to try and break into this keep. You see the Biggins here fighting back the Illyrian Reaver archers who thought that they could find their way in, but they will not. And meanwhile, the elf infantry has begun to assault the other orc Biggins, and my Biggins aren't afraid. They'll be reinforced by trolls, more Biggins, and black orcs, and the elves will find themselves in a challenging uphill fight. These stairs provide a nice position to give a good bonus while fighting downhill for my troops. And up here you can see up in the Hume graveyard where we get all the Humeburger helper that my arrow boys are effectively firing back and silencing some of the Sea Guard. There's another unit of Sea Guard down here in a Napoleonic column formation that I don't quite understand, but they will be the next targets. Meanwhile, more pointy ears present themselves at the altar of their destruction. You can see the High Mage having the Sword of Kane and feeling some confidence enters combat with a large group of Biggins, but this was an ill-advised step at the best. And this mage is going to be feeling some pretty serious heat here, despite having significant weapon damage while using the swords. See the Shadow Warriors moving in, and on this flank, the troops have fully met in combat, and the elves are up against an iron wall of greenskins. The black orcs now here too, chopping their way through the elite infantry, and the trolls awaiting their turn to charge in. But these trolls will wait no longer. The Shadow Warriors dress up so nice and shiny, and the trolls really like shiny things. And the Archmage is going to feel the full wrath over here. So the elves are struggling to break in. And over here, they haven't even had to face the black orcs yet. There are still black orcs and orc boar boys in reserve, and then trolls in reserve here. So the elves find themselves fighting a losing battle. The boss will no doubt be proud of his troops holding fast, inspired by the greatness of his gut. And aren't we all? Aren't we all? So the Archmage is really one of the last forces here. At any moment, she's likely to unleash the Sword of Kane's Vortex ability. But not before I unleash more death and destruction on her troops with a WAAAGH. Boys is fired up for a good scrap.
Our resolve is failing. Our will is tentative.
There's the Sword of Kane. Its wrath too late and too little. Looked cool, though. The Archmage will be defeated, Sword of Kane or not. It'll take more than a Dark Elf God's sword to do any real damage to Grom's WAAAGH. And another message will no doubt be sent to the pointy ears of Ulthuan that their time is limited, and that the WAAAGH comes for them. They have the lumber, and they have everything else that's needed. Simply a matter of time. There goes the mage, in a fitting manner. Not even with their fancy elf git sword can they cut through even one of my defenses. Pathetic, but delicious. Now, the only thing that I may have some regret over is, should I have killed her? Should I have gone over there so that I could take the sword? I'll bet the sword simply returns. because I wasn't able to kill her with a legendary lord in place, or a lord where the sword could be taken. Oh, the Empire!
From the pole,
Showing up with some reinforcements. Want to do a little raiding, do they? Luminarch of Hish.
big as an orc.
Well, we've had a good episode. This is where the next one's going to pick up. I'm going to save it right here. And Albrecht Hertwig gets a chance to defend the Reichland. I think you all know how this one might end. But I will see you there. Make sure you help me name the new settlements. And I think we still need a name for Snorko as well, the one damaging all the walls. So let's see what we can get put together. Thank you, Gitz, for being here. And I'll be back with more soon.